Okay, we've accomplished a lot since our last video, and I'm going to go over what we've built on the camper. We're going to talk about building out this headboard, this overhead cabinet, those sliding barn door cabinets you see there in the back, and we're going to talk about what we've done in the galley. Okay, since our last video, let's talk about the first thing that we've done. The first thing we started on since the last video that you saw was this overhead cabinet here. Now, the reason I didn't shoot the video of us making the cabinet is because I was like, man, how am I going to get this profile up there? Well, just let me lay the template out. We laid the template out, we got our profile. I was like, okay, let me just cut this board. And I was trying to see how it was going to go. But by the time I started this project, then I started to see how the headboard was going to go. The next thing you know, we had finished a few things and I hadn't recorded any of it. So we're catching you up to speed now. So all the plywood pieces that you see here on our cabinet build is 3/4 inch sanded pine. I've used some pine boards that I cut down to 1 3/4 inch boards that you see here. This is oak, this piece right here. We went ahead and painted over it so it would all match. But everything else is pine and plywood. And I wasn't sure about building out this headboard, how tall I was going to make it. Tony Latham's book called for 17 inches. To me, that seemed a bit tall. I made this one just a little bit shorter, but to tell you the truth, I wish I'd have made it 17 inches or maybe even taller. So I don't know. Everything that you see here can be taken out and rebuilt. I didn't glue anything in, nothing's permanent. Just for the simple fact that if we're not happy with how something looks, we can take it out and redo it. Now, I've got 1 foot of space up here in these shelves. We're not going to put doors over these. We wanted these open, and just because we like the way that's going to look. We're going to put our sconces up here for our reading lights. Right here is going to be our control panel for all of our interior lights. Our porch light that's going to go outside here. Our overhead, our overhead fan is going to be on a system of its own. But we're going to have plug-ins. And look at here, folks. This headboard that I made, I took 1 piano hinge that I had left over from a previous project. I cut 1 little section right there to divide it and make 2 different doors. And these open up separately. And so we got 2 compartments but 1 hinge. And we're thinking now that we're going to put a 120 power outlet down here. That way I can plug in my CPAP machine, put my CPAP machine up here, and I won't be bothered with a lot of cords and tubes and stuff hanging out and hanging around. So we're going to bring you that in a future video. Now, moving on to these cabinets over here, we're looking at 17 inches tall. And each cabinet is about 17 inches each, you know, give or take. I can't remember what the exact dimensions were, but it was about 17 inches. But one of the things we talked about doing was doing sliding barn doors here. And it didn't work out. I couldn't get the hardware to fit up here because there's just not enough clearance. So Michelle came up with the idea of, well, let's use drawer slides. And so I got soft close drawer slides so that whenever you pull them back, they kind of hold in place. And they won't open up and stuff won't go flying out as you're going down the road. So I like the soft close for the simple fact of that. But we got open bookshelves here. We didn't put any bookshelves on the inside here because we're going to use baskets. Pull your baskets out and you can go through your clothes and put the baskets back, and it's neat, orderly. And I really like that idea, and that's all Michelle's idea of doing this. So, all right, let's go ahead on to the back galley, and I'm going to show you what's going on in the galley. Okay, now in our galley area, we just kind of built out the cabinets how we kind of wanted them. Michelle kind of liked the idea of having a little backsplash. She picked out these tiles. They're pill and stick tiles, and we're going to go. They're going to go right about here on that little 4-inch backsplash right there. Now, I got a really good deal on some cherry wood. Guy down the road had some boards laying out. some 1x10s, rough cut, 16 foot long. These like $10. You can have them for $10 per board. I was like, great. So we brought the cherry boards home, and we have built our cabinet doors and our hatch spars out of cherry wood. And I think we're going to leave the bottom underside of our hatch spars open so that we can look up and see the cherry boards. We don't know. We're going to cross that bridge when we get there. Now, as far as our cabinet doors, Michelle liked the idea of opening doors, both doors on one set of hinges, so that she can access everything in here. So what you're looking at here is about 1 foot deep and about 1 foot tall in here. So any of your plates and spoons and stuff, that can go in there easy, out of the way, and shouldn't be a problem moving that stuff in and out. Now, one of the other things that we talked about yesterday, and I really like this idea, is Michelle come up with the idea that this is the area we're going to put all of our 110 plug, our 12 volt plug, our cell phone charger, light switches are going to go in here. So this is going to house all of our electronics. And I was like, well, we're going to take this cherry board and we're going to put all that stuff on that cherry board. And she was like, no, let's do this. Let's put it on the hinge. Let's fit it right in there, and let's flip it up and then have the switches hidden behind it. And this is kind of cut out so that all the cords can hang out. You see right there, I didn't close that up like I did over here. So all the cords can hang out below, and then we can shut that back and make out a decorative panel under there. And all of our electronic controls are kind of hidden out of the way. And I was like, wow, that's going to look really neat. And again, if we don't like it, hey, all of our electronics don't have to be moved. It's right there. We can always just redo it and rebuild it. And one other thing I want to show you. Now, our mattress that you saw in our cabin, that's a full-size mattress. This camper was built for a queen-size mattress, but we already had the full-size mattress given to us after we had started the camper build. And we brand new in the plastic, in storage. So Michelle's like, let's don't spend the money. Let's throw the full size in there and let's see how that works out. I was like, okay, well, if nothing else, this board right here in the back just has some pocket screws. I can undo the pocket screws, take these cabinets out, and then our mattress can slide right out of the back galley hatch without trying to fold them up and get them out the side door. So again, everything's modular, everything's screwed down. It's structurally sound, nothing's moving anywhere, but we can reconfigure if we have to, or if we want to. We can do a remodel and nothing's permanent. So that's one of the things that we like to do. Now, moving on, I already have our oak hatch spar up here, and I've got some 5/16 inch spacers that are taped in place. And when we bring our galley hatch over here, there's got to be a 5/16 inch space on when we put our hurricane hinge on the top. So that's what you see there, is those little spacers ready to set the back hatch. Now, one other thing, whenever I was building out for the back hatch, I needed a lip 1/4 inch tall, taller than the side. I'm gonna come over here to this one so you can see a little bit better. But right here, this lip is a 1/4 inch taller than the outside. We're going to seal all this up so that it's waterproof. And our galley hatch has a rubber seal that goes right down over the top of this lip. And it's going to keep all the moisture and all the dirt and dust out of our galley. And I'll show you the other half of that when we show you what we've done to the galley hatch. Well, one of the things I ran into is we had this cedar wall here. So I had to come back in and cut a 1 inch thick wide spacer because I didn't have 1/8 of an inch thick plywood. And then I made a 1/4 inch false wall and glued that in there. And that gave me the lip that I needed for the galley hatch. So that's how we've configured for the galley hatch on the galley side of it. One more thing I want to show you before we move on to the hatch is that we put the soft close drawer slides, put a 24 inch long board on here, and we have put our stove right there, and then there's our oven. Pull that out, we can cook on it. When we're done, slides in out of the way, and those soft closed mechanisms, they keep that in there. Now, of course, if you get into a big sudden jerk, that's probably going to come out of there. But when the galley hatch is closed, you're only talking about a little bit of space. Shouldn't be a big issue. All right, let's go ahead over to our galley hatch, and I'll show you what we've got going on over there. Okay, over here at our galley hatch, these are the pieces that we cut off the side walls whenever we were getting our walls built out. So if you see right here, this little piece is missing. Well, we set those to the side and we got ready to build out the galley hatch. We come over here, we grab these things, and I put a 1/2 inch wide, this plywood right here, 1/2 inch plywood, and we put in here as a spacer, but we recessed it about a 1/2 inch down, and I bought this gasket, this 1/2 inch wide gasket, 3/8 inch thick. Let me find an end so I can show you. Here we go, here's the end of it right there. So it's D-shaped, a D-shaped gasket with a sticky backing on it. And if you look down in here, I've already put it right down inside that. Now, that is sitting on the spacer. Now, if you see this gusset piece right here with this little bump out, this little bump out area right here, this is where our shock absorber assist, basically their spring assist to pull the galley up and hold the hatch up while we're working under the galley. So that's where those are going to mount to. That's why you see that little bump out right there. And I was thinking, after I got the gasket installed, we're probably going to end up painting all these plywood pieces in here. So I may end up having to take this gasket out, paint this this gusset piece, and then put the gasket back in. But I've got a lot of gasket to work with, so no big deal. Now, I also read in one of the forums that if the gasket starts coming out on you, you can take a little bit of an RTV sealant and put on the back side instead of just that tape, and relying on just that, and you can kind of glue that back into place. And should give you several years of use without worrying about your gasket rotting on you. We put our braces in here. We've braced inside here. We put pocket screws, if you can see right here. I've got pocket screws in there. And then we've got these blocks in here to brace out the galley hatch. So that's where we are in the build. The next step that we're starting on today is we've already started blocking out the spars all the way across the top. We're halfway through that. And hopefully tomorrow we start cutting cedar boards to do the inside roof area. And we're looking at putting the inside ceiling in as our next step. So if you've enjoyed watching the build and seeing what we have going on here, we'd encourage you to hit the subscribe button and continue to follow us along with this build. And we're going to keep bringing you up to speed on what we're doing as we do it. So thanks for watching.